Today we're going to be working on the standard for composing narratives using a combination of drawing, dictating, writing, and digital resources to develop real or imagined experiences or multiple events or ideas using effective technique, descriptive details, and clear sequences. In drawing and filling out a witch hat and creating a comic strip, students are showing mastery of the standard by understanding the sequence of a plot and creating their own in an understandable order, and showing visually that they fully understand all components by illustrating key moments in the story they created. By the end of this lesson, students should be able to take the example that I gave them in the video and apply it to their own projects and have a better idea of how to accomplish this learning standard. So how are we going to be doing this? First, we are going to be constructing a witch hat in order to organize our stories so they are clear and easy to follow along with, and we can narrow down important parts to our stories. Then we are going to create rough draft comic strips for our illustrations for our 5 pages. This will help us to construct our stories in a visual way as well as a written one. If we have a plan set out for the story, it's easier to make the story come together in a more cohesive way so that it can make better sense plot-wise and will be easier for your friends and family to follow. Today we'll be constructing a witch hat that will look something like this at the end, and then we will be constructing a rough draft comic strip from the story you put together beforehand. You can also use this witch hat in order to construct your story, but for the purpose of this video, I already have a story idea that I've written out. So first, to make a witch hat, you want to make 2 lines on the same line, and then you're going to do a big mountain and bring that mountain down. This is a plot device that we can use to label the parts of our stories. So our story is going to be 5 pages long, meaning there's going to be 5 different things that happen in our story. So this is called the exposition. This is called the resolution. An exposition is the beginning of your story, and the resolution is the end. This is called the rising action. This up here is the climax, and this is the falling action. Think of a story kind of like a mountain, or our witch hat. You first gotta start at the base of the mountain, you gotta climb, it gets a little bit more intense, and then you get to the top, and it's this cool moment where you're just like, wow, this is the best part of the story. And this is the part where you come down from the mountain, and you finish, and you know that you're done. So for our story, that I'm gonna be doing as an example, there was a bear named Humphrey who loved berries. He woke up one day and all of his berries were stolen. He traveled far and wide and found new berries. He was happy. So now we're going to break up that story, that idea that we have, and put it on here so that way we can see the 5 pages that we're going to draw. So exposition, there was a bear named Humphrey. So you got to tell everyone like the beginning of it. So there was a bear named Humphrey. The rising action, well, what happened next? He woke up one day and all of his berries were stolen. And don't worry, this doesn't have to look perfect. This is for our rough draft. And so what happened at the big important part? Well, he traveled far and wide. That's like the adventurous part. Then what happened next? Well, according to our story, he found new berries. And what does our last sentence say? He was happy. So that's the end. This is how we can break up stories so that way we can understand what happened in better detail, and so we can think about how to make each of these points connect when we're writing a story. Next, we're going to be making a comic strip, sort of, to show us what our rough draft of each of our pages is going to look like. If you still have your witch hat, once again, these are going to be the 5 pages of your book. So, in order to get an even comic strip, this is how we want to fold it. First, you're going to want to fold it hot dog ways or long ways. This is so each of the sides of the paper are folded into one another. Not hamburger ways like this, hot dog ways. Once again, this does not have to be perfect, but just trying to make that fold nice and clean. Next, we're going to take the top of our paper and we're going to fold it halfway down. This. And then we're gonna flip it over the bottom of our paper and flip it up like this. So that way it comes into one square. And we open it up, we have 6 even squares. Then we're gonna take our paper that we folded and we're gonna darken the line so we can see it better. And we're gonna number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to represent your 5 pages of your book. And in your last square, you've got like a bonus square. So if you want, you can write the end. So now we're gonna take our witch hat and we're gonna follow each of the points and we're gonna draw a picture of each of them. So what was the exposition? There was a bear named Humphrey. So I'm gonna draw just Humphrey. Let's see what he looks like. It's looking super cool. There's Humphrey. Next one on our rising action. He woke up one day and his berries were stolen. So maybe I'll draw some bushes with no berries on them. Maybe some trees in the background because he lives in a forest. And now I want to draw Humphrey, pretty sad, because, I mean, he's looking at his empty bushes. All right, so what's next? Our climax? So now we're going to draw he traveled far and wide. So how am I going to represent that? Maybe I'll draw some mountains. Cool mountains there. Maybe I'll draw some little trees on them. And remember guys, this doesn't have to be perfect. This is not your final drawing. Your final drawing, you're gonna be using color and you're gonna make it look as pretty as you can for each page. But this is just so you kind of know what you wanna draw in your book. So maybe I'll draw Humphrey climbing this mountain right here. Got big ears in that one. Ooh, Humphrey looks a little funky, but that's okay. It's a rough draft, don't worry. Nothing has to be perfect. So what happened next? He found new berries. So maybe I'll draw the same thing as before, but now with berries. Now he's happy. And the last one, he was happy. So we'll just draw Humphrey's face. And maybe he's got some berries in his paw. All right, so now we can take our comic strip and our witch hat, and we can use these to help us write our book. That way we'd have an even and concise idea of what we're going to do for our books.